G'day guys, Tony Angus here with another tip for managing conflict and aggression, either at home or at the workplace or out and about. And these tips are designed to share with you the appropriate techniques and strategies, but also attitudes around how to manage people who are upset or frustrated or angry with you. And so today I wanted to look at a strategy for helping people to regulate their own emotions. So one of the problems we have is that when people are angry or aggressive, quite often they're not really regulating their own emotions very well. And so it's not a bad idea if you've got some strategies for helping them cope in that moment. It's not a bad idea if you can utilize those. So one of the things we know about humans is part of the human condition is that we like to have a fair amount of understanding about our circumstances and control over those circumstances. And we tend to not cope particularly well when we don't have understanding or control over our situation and our circumstances. And so I can give you a scenario that might help explain this. If you're ever in a car, and whether you're running late for somewhere or not, but you've got somewhere to be, and you're driving along and you come across a traffic jam. There's a sea of brake lights and tail lights ahead of you as far as the eye can see. And you find yourself wondering what the hell's going on. Now instantly you feel a sort of sense of anxiety around not really understanding the situation. You find yourself wondering what happened. So people will look around their steering wheel and think to themselves, what's going on? That's part of the need to understand the environment, to understand the circumstances. And if you don't have any understanding, you can't then have control. And control is what we're after. People like to have some control over their own lives. And so without that understanding and control, we tend to get frustrated, and it pushes our coping skills beyond. Now imagine the same scenario. You approach this traffic jam. You can see the ocean of tail lights and brake lights ahead of you. But just as you pull up to the last car in that traffic jam, on the side of a road a sign springs up and it says, "This traffic jam will delay you by 10 minutes. Stand by while I wait for a car." And so the sign says, "This traffic jam will delay you by 10 minutes. You'd find yourself going, "Oh, well, I've got 10 minutes. But at least I know." If the sign said this traffic jam will delay you by half an hour, you'd think, "I'll bugger it, but at least I know." Not knowing what's going on for us is the problem. This is what makes things worse. Now, if you pull up to that traffic and the sign that pops up says it's going to be an hour, you now have some control. You did before, but this is where control becomes more important, because you can now say, "I'm prepared to wait for that hour. This is a shame, and I'm going to be stuck in traffic for an hour," but you have some measure of control. You can jump on the phone and make phone calls. You can read a book, whatever you're going to do, or you can take the next exit. Now here's the problem without knowing. You get to an exit off the freeway, for example, you're still seeing tail lights stretching out as far as you can see, and you get to an exit but you're not sure if you should take it. So you find yourself sitting there, you go, "Will I take it? No, I won't. Will I? Won't I? I'll take it. No, I won't, because traffic will clear up as soon as I leave." And that's the dilemma that we face when we don't know what's going on in our circumstances. So this is the idea behind having understanding and control. The moment there's some understanding, we can apply that control, and it helps to regulate our emotions. There are places here in Victoria, quite often government or semi-government facilities, where in order to be served, you go to a ticket machine, you select what category you belong to, and you choose a ticket, take a ticket. And so this ticketing system helps with understanding and control, because what you do is you choose your ticket, and let's say I'm category A, so I press A and out comes ticket number 143. And so I can look at my ticket and I can compare it to the digital readout up here that says 112, for example. And I can now say to myself, all right, well, there are 31 people to be served between the person who's up at the moment and me. And I can look around the facility and see how many people are waiting. And I can even look and see how many people are serving. And I can sort of guesstimate, I might even stay until the next person is called, ticket A113 is called, and I can make an estimate about how long I'll have to wait until I'm served. So I'm already starting to gain some understanding. But I also have control, because I can screw that ticket up, throw it in the bin. Or I can say, oh well, there's only 31 people or 31 people to be served, so I'll wait. I'll read a book, or I'll go and get a cappuccino next door. So I'm not stuck whinging and crying about how long it's going to take. I know how long it's going to take. And so I have understanding and control. Now, I'm not suggesting for 1 second that you go and get a ticketing system in your business, because that may not be relevant and it may not be even appropriate. However, I use that as an example of why people feel okay about waiting in those facilities, because quite often you walk in and they're very busy, but you see people happily waiting. They're not hands on hips and pacing up and down and looking at their watches and waving their arms around. Whereas compare that to a hospital waiting room where people don't know when they're going to be served and they become frustrated. So please understand, please recognise, understanding and control is a massive component of human behaviour. And if you can provide people with some understanding and control, some understanding of this situation and some control over this situation, you might find that they escalate in their behaviour less. Okay? Guys, if you find these tips handy and you found this one handy, click like and hit share. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you've got something you want me to talk about, let me know. I'm happy to do that, okay? So you guys take it easy, be safe, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next tip. Ciao for now.